fantastic. What can you tell us about, I know we saw him pop up on the injury report, what can you tell us about Joseph Mora and his condition and how long you think he'll be out?
Yeah, Joseph, actually, I had a conversation with him today. He's much better than we initially feared. He's still going to be out for at least 2 or 3 weeks. But the first report and the first fear that we had after the game was a lot worse than that. So it was such a relief to see him do an MRI that he showed not critical damage, and I see him quite positive, and I think he's just have to see how we respond to treatment in the next couple of days, just to give us a little bit better idea of when he will be back. But it doesn't look as bad as we thought, thankfully.
Did you seek or receive any feedback from the league on the challenge that took place there with Joseph, or is that something you didn't pursue?
No, we didn't. We didn't see that. We didn't receive any feedback from the league.
In terms of the goalkeeper decision this weekend, obviously with 2 games in short order with Open Cup on Tuesday, how does that maybe go about how you decide how to want to use your goalkeepers, knowing that you've had Carlina with Crown Legacy for a game already?
Yeah. Yeah, this is certainly a situation that we are analyzing with the staff, in particular with the coaching staff, with the goalkeeping coaching staff, and with the performance department. So we are monitoring what Christian does on a daily basis, because we want to get him involved as soon as possible.
Lastly, for me, in terms of making sure that it's more about the performance than the result, I know that's something that you've talked about a lot in your time here. How are you dealing with the squad after the result you guys took, and making sure that the performance does at least meet the standards that you've set previously here with your team?
Yeah, I think that the last performance was acceptable. I thought that considering the players that we still missing in terms of leadership, we still are out Kale, we still have out Guzman, we still have out Ashley, and this is, in football, as you normally talk about, the spinal cord of the team. So to have the goalkeeper, central defender, central midfielder, this is not, these are important players for us. And it's not to find excuses, but I think that the boys are doing particularly well to give a good account of themselves, and to have that kind of leadership in the team, especially from the back, it would be very, very important for us. So I think the performance was good. They show good character to come back into the game. We were very close to win it if it wasn't for that mistake at the end, but this is part and parcel of football. And when you have young players playing week in, week out, this is what can happen. Is the way of learning. In any job you learn by making mistakes. So football is not different from any other human activity. And when you play on a weekly basis, and then you have to perform with expectations behind you, that's why I always talk about managing expectations, because I understand that there is a lot of expectations here, but they also they have to be realistic expectation, and to give the boys time to give us the time to get back the players that can help us, at least in terms of experience. And I know that the front office is very aware of that.
Thank you, Christian. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, Will.
All right, Sam.
All right, well, speaking of players who can help you, the Irish football press has been ablaze this week with rumors about Charlotte FC trying to acquire Jack Byrne. The most recent report I saw was that Charlotte made a €425,000 offer that was rejected. Obviously, I know that you might not be able to talk about the specifics of a negotiation, but at the very least, could you talk about your relationship with Jack Byrne and why he's a player that Charlotte FC might be interested in?
Yeah, I worked with Jack in the past, and the front office knows very well what is my view on how to improve the squad and how to help this group of players, because I think that we also need help in that sense. So Jack is a player that for me is very creative. I know him well. I coached him in the past. I know how much he can give us or what qualities he can bring to the table. So I don't know all the ins and outs of the negotiation. This is not my job. But he's a player that I rate highly.
And specifically with him being a midfielder, what space would he fill, or what problem would he solve by being part of the 11 or part of the 20?
Jack has got characteristics that I don't want to do like a scouting report now on Jack, but I think that he would bring to the table characteristics that the front office is very aware how I see the game and that we need in the squad that can only benefit all our players that they are here.
And what message do you have to fans and the squad going into the match against Columbus? Obviously, the team has never beat Columbus, but the team has never lost to Columbus. They're doing pretty well. They're in good form. How are you going to execute the game, and what can we look forward to on Saturday?
The message to the supporters is that to keep supporting the players, because I can guarantee them that they are working really hard on and with great intensity and respect for the club. So, in my opinion, they have to be proud of them, and also understanding that is a team that the expectations that they have on them that they normally fulfill them in terms of giving the 100% on the pitch. I understand that they want, at least part of the fan base wants to have result now, but in my opinion it's important to put things into perspective and to look the way in which we are at the moment, and at least to see that, for example, when we played against Colorado, this is a team that went to win in Kansas City, and I know from experience how difficult it is to get the result in Kansas. They came here, and I think we were quite unlucky not to win the game. So the boys, in my opinion, show great character, great determination, and I thought that they gave the supporters a lot of reason to be proud of them.
And finally, I didn't catch it until I saw it on TV later this week, but after Camille scored his goal against Colorado, he came up to the sideline, gave you a hug. That's not always the sort of celebration we see. Usually it's with other players. How important do you think your relationship with Camille and your belief in him has been to his success this year?
I think Camille is a player that has been under a lot of scrutiny, under a lot of criticism, in my opinion, unfair as well. And he's a guy that is still relatively young, he's 24. He works hard. He has been unlucky in certain situations not to score goals, or when he made assist, maybe the player that received the assist didn't score and therefore it didn't count as an assist. So I know that he has been criticized heavily regarding his numbers, but so far he scored 2 goals, he made goals, he works really hard defensively. I think he contributes more than people give him credit for. I trust his play. I can see how much. I think that there is more leadership in him, and I was simply very, very happy for him, because I know that when you are under that kind of criticism, it's always hard to live with that. But he showed the tremendous strength of character, tremendous grit, and this is one of the qualities that I like in him the most. He's a fighter. He's a fighter with the ball, without the ball. He has got. He's not a guy that when he's under threat he goes under, but he fights back and he kicks back, and I like that in him.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Mike?
Good afternoon, Christian.
Good afternoon, Mike.
Good to see you. With
Likewise.
you guys, eight matches in, one victory so far.
Yeah.
And you've gotten, the 3 draws as well, which has helped, add to the points total. But you're very black and white. It's you don't like to, in talking with you, you don't like to think about the outside potential things. You just look at the strict, this is what it is, this is what it is. But does this team need a positive break to maybe spur things along? Like Colorado got that break on the tying goal on the error. Do you guys need something like that to maybe jumpstart you guys and start stacking up some victories?
So Mike, in life, you know probably better than me that everybody needs a positive break, not just our boys. If you get a positive break in life, everything seems easier, rosier, and so for us it's no different. We would love that, and we always feel, certainly as a coaching staff and talking with the players, that we have to fight for everything that we get, and we don't complain about that. But unfortunately, sometimes we give some gift to the opposition. But okay, this can happen, and we live with that, and we move on. That only what it does, it makes us stronger and grittier. So I think all this misadventure that we have been through only create more strength and more desire in our boys. And for this reason, I have a lot of faith in them, a lot of trust. But at the same time, I understand that we are missing some important pieces, and therefore the guys are giving all they can to make sure that we are still competitive, and we give a good account of ourselves. So that's why despite, as I said before, that here there is a part of the fan base can be quite unhappy, but there is another part that shows a lot of support and faith, and you have to evaluate things with a little bit of with perspective, and not to be all in one direction or the other, because these guys are giving everything that they can.
In terms of Columbus, in terms of Columbus, what do you see on film from those guys that you'll have to kind of dodge and parry to implement your game and impose your game on them?
It's a team that has a lot of quality players. Again, you just have to look at the 2 central midfielders. There are 2 guys that they are they have been in the US squad. So 2 international players. Zela Rayan is one of the best attacking midfielder in the league. Matan is another good player. Moreira. There are good players everywhere you look. There is quality in them. So he's a good coach. Nancy showed last year, in the last couple of years, how well he did with Montreal, and so we are perfectly aware of the challenge that we have ahead. And so we prepared for that, and we have to try to maximize the way we play our game and to minimize the challenges that they will give us, the problems that they will give us. We are ready for the game, and we want to give our supporters something that they can be proud of and to cheer for. But we understand the difficulties of the task we have ahead.
Last one for me, and it's a Friday, so I have to ask you, a lot of folks go to the movies on Fridays. 34 years ago today, Field of Dreams was released. Movie Field of Dreams. So I don't know if you're much of a baseball fan, but what is your favorite baseball movie?
I am not a big baseball fan simply because I don't understand the game well. So it's my ignorance rather than the game. I love to go to even here there are the nights, and I think that is a wonderful night out. As soon as I can, I go to see them. I understand nothing about the game. My favorite one is actually Field of Dreams. It was quite a good one, but I also like the Moneyball simply because after that they're starting to implement the stats in every game and also in football. So I quite enjoyed the Moneyball. Also, you know, the underdog coming back and showing a clever way of turning things around. But again, I just point out my ignorance about the game. It's a game that I didn't play. I wasn't when I was a kid, and I think we all love the games and we appreciate the games that we played even in the street with our friends when we were kids. And if you haven't done that, it's difficult really to understand how difficult it is to play the game.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you,
Mike.
Mike.
All right, thank you, Mike. We'll move on to Brian.
Good afternoon, Christian.
Good
to see
afternoon,
you.
Brian. Good to see you. Yeah.
So the team's still looking for their first home win.
Mhm.
Is there extra? Does it feel like there might be extra pressure on the?
Thank you for reminding us that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the extra pressure. Listen, extra pressure. We talk about high expectation. We are not Real Madrid, and we are a team that is trying to establish on a weekly basis. We are trying to grow. What we have this week, for example, we had many young players training, and it's great to see them improving. But at the same time, to have high expectations, put them on me. But the team needs to be supported rather than to put great expectations on them. The great expectations, they have to be put in performing with energy, performing with everything they have got. Then after, it becomes silly, to project these high expectations like if we are Real Madrid or Manchester United or Manchester City. I think we are a team that whenever the guys play, they give a good account of themselves, and because of that, and as there is a part of the of the supporters that might not be happy, but I certainly am in touch with a lot of part of the supporters that they are very supportive. They understand what's going on.
And then also, Columbus Crew specifically have just several players now who were developed in their MLS Next Pro team. How, I think it's like 5 or 6 right now.
Sure. One of them was developed in New York with us, Will
Yeah.
Sands. That I had him and his twin brother James.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. I mean, I knew they were a brother. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that Will was in New York before Columbus.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. How valuable is it then for, obviously, you kind of see the groundwork being laid for that developmental pathway in a team like Columbus? How valuable is that moving forward for a team like Charlotte?
Yeah, of course. This is the way it should be. You look at them, you look at Philadelphia, you look at other teams that they have been through this process before. Give us time. That's why I talk about these high expectations. Give us time. This is teams that have been going through this path for years and years. Along the way, they must have had their own bumpy roads or bumpy patches, and then you learn and you move on. So that's why I think that people have to put things in perspective. Of course, we want to go in every game to try to win it, to compete to win. I know this only very well. But it looks like that the result is the beginning and the end of all. The result is important, especially at this level. I understand that, but also there is a process that we need to follow, and there is a process that we need to go through. And I am a big believer that if you do things right in that way, we will get quicker to where we want to go, everyone. Us, supporters, front office, ownership. We have the same objective to see Charlotte FC established as one of the best teams in MLS, but you have to give us time. You talk about Columbus. Columbus was already a very strong team when I was here with New York City. So it's nothing new, and they are going through, they have many years of experience ahead of us. This is normal, and we just have to accept and try to give our best shot.
Thank you, Christian. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, I see. We'll go to Diego and then to Carol.
Hello, Coach.
Hello, Diego.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you as well.
Brian talked to you about an extra pressure that you are going to have on Saturday game. I'm going to talk about a little other thing that's going to be a pressure, because I think you're going to face the second best scoring team in the league today. And there are no good news for you guys, because you are the second team that has conceded the most goals. So are you thinking about this situation, or you don't care about it?
No, what do you mean you don't care? Of course I care about everything. I know that we are playing against a team that is high scoring, but at the same time I want us to play our football. So I'm not prepared to give up our identity and the way we play football just because we face a team that scores goals. So in that sense, if that's what you say I don't care, of course I care very much. But I want to have a balance between creating and not conceding. I think that to give up our identity against any opposition would be negative, and I think that we have to believe the work that we do. And yes, they have strong attacking players, but we also want to create our own chances and to play our own game.
Against Colorado, we saw two phases of your team. One at the first half, another totally different at the second half.
Yeah,
Did you talk to your players about that, or did any of the players said something about this to you?
I don't understand, first of all, when you say about first one phase and then the other phase. I didn't think.
Because
I think that
you had a very bad first half.
Yeah, but what does it mean bad? I mean, talking like this, we can talk very bad, very good. What do you mean? Tactically, what was the different, the things that you think that were bad and the things that they were good? I think that in the first half, we had certain difficulties in with bringing the ball forward and to penetrate the first line of pressure. But we created also our chances a couple of times when Camille gave the ball to Carol, and we had our chances when Kerwin crossed the ball. We had another penetration that we had with Harry on the right. So I thought that, you know, if we go on the first half 2-0 up, people would say that the first half was fantastic, because sometimes we make these mistakes between the result is the performance, or the performance is the but the performance and the result not necessarily are the same. The second half we made some little adjustment and we conceded a goal, okay, that we didn't do in the first half. So from that point of view, I can say that we were maybe better in the first half defensively, because we conceded 2 in the second half, right? So, but at the same time, I thought that we tried to penetrate the first the line of defense better. We finished well the chances that we had. We switched the point of attack with a little bit more, say, continuity, and that led to more chances. But I don't think that it was so black and white, as the first half was so bad and the second half was so good. I think that we had certain things that we had to improve half time. We discussed that. We had a game plan. And unfortunately, at certain moments, we didn't recognize certain situations. We had a discussion, we showed them certain images, and then after the boys realized, then they executed.
The last one for me. I know the answer, but I have to ask because in my job,
Sure.
You have the starting 11?
Yeah, the starting. Yeah, I have an idea of the starting 11, but I'd rather, you know, keep it is. I'd rather keep it because I prefer to not to give advantage to the opposition. Only for that.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome. Thank
All
you.
right, last one to Carol.
Thank you.
Hey Christian, how are you?
Yeah, Carol, good, thank you. You?
I'm good, and
Good.
I'm thinking you came up with a pretty good list of movies.
Ah.
Being a non-baseball guy, so I think there's an echo in here. Hopefully you can hear me. Bull Durham's another good one in case you're looking.
Which one?
Bull Durham.
Okay, I'll have a look at that.
Okay.
Thank you.
But as far as your roster, speaking of, I just wanted to see if we could get an update on Shinyashiki and Nuno Santos. Are they taking part in practice? Might they be available this week?
Well, this is the situation that we have, and I also look to have a little bit more clarity about certain things, but for now, it's some private things that we are internally discussing, and I don't want to really, to talk too much about it. Sorry, Carol.
Okay. Is Nuno practicing with Crown Legacy? I thought I heard someone say that. Is that true or false?
Yeah, he has been practicing with Crown Legacy, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then as far as Kalina goes, do you feel like the one game would be enough if you do decide to use him Saturday or the U.S. Open Cup? I mean,
At some point, we have to bring him back, and I think it's good for him to have played for Crown Legacy, just to give him confidence to be back onto the pitch after so long. At the same time, we are aware that the level in MLS Next Pro is very different from what you're going to find in MLS. So we are looking at gradually bringing back to the MLS, maybe for the US Open Cup. All things being equal, all things being well.
okay.